One and all, buckle yourselves in for a fun time because we are here on the weekend for the Ladder Hero Tournament. Arranged by Warman QT, it's a tournament that features all the maps on the ladder, but I don't know if this is everyone's regular experience when they play on the ladder. Game number 1, we're kicking the day off with Core versus Scatterbrained, and the English short bow rush is in effect. Scatterbrained barely got to touch his gold before he was shoved off of it. Oh my god. This is so dirty. So the way that this drafting format works is you don't actually draft your civs, you just draft your bans. So there was a Zhu Xi ban and a Roost ban from Scatterbrain, and there was an HRE ban and a Roost ban from Core. I don't think Scatterbrain was expecting English like this. This is wild. I love it, man. I love it. You know, we talked about how Scatterbrain can be quite a chaotic player, so I thought he'd be the one trying to make some crazy moves, but gotta give it to him. Just a great read by Core. Outpost is going up to deny this, and look at where the second gold is. It's quite far away, actually, nowhere near the TC. And the other problem that Scatterbrain has here is it means his tech up speed is going to be a little bit slower than ideal. Because... okay, scrap that. Meditation gun on the way. Because of the taxation being the only way you can get gold. And yet still it didn't... are you kidding me? It didn't even matter. Okay. You know what? Kind of feels like Panic Averted, right? I was getting hyped for Core's play here, but I'm seeing a problem. Do you guys see the same problem? What does an English player do with 300 plus gold when he's got 100 food? Like, but... is this Pro Scouts? This has to be Pro Scouts, right? It's the only play you have here. In fairness, that is the weakness for Scatterbrain. It's why Core's play isn't terrible, because now Scatterbrain can't rush Pro Scouts. He has to play kind of more of a standard vanilla format. He only has 11 sheep to work with as well, so he lost out on the sheep game. This is 100% Pro Scouts, dude. It's 500 gold by the time he's ready to tech up. A little bit surprised he didn't try for the short bows. I guess it's difficult because of the placement of the Meditation Garden. And the other interesting thing here is Scatterbrain, the reason why he placed the Medi Garden here wasn't to mock Core, although it may have achieved that goal, is because he still wants a little bit of gold trickle alongside the taxation. So we are going to be opening the stables here, anticipating that Core is likely going all in with a Council Hall, but instead, Core does go for the Abbey of Kings. With 300 gold in the... are you kidding me? Dude, by the time he techs up, he'll have almost harvested 1,000 gold in this game. Is Fast Castle White Tower drop? Sure, horse, you keep cooking. That sounds like death to me. Scatterbrain is already prepping horsemen, and yeah, Core has to walk away. He's been seen though. No, Scatterbrain knows. He can bypass. Okay, he actually hangs around for the outpost. That's quite beneficial for Core. He could have easily lost 2 villagers running back there. A little bit of a missed opportunity, actually. Remember, the horseman hit for 9 damage. There's no wheelbarrow. That type of walk, you're not getting away from it in one piece. And remember, because it's English short bows, you can't really defend yourself against horsemen. Normal villagers could at least try to stab and run away. But with these guys, the bow attack means you lose almost half your damage. So yeah, very surprised by that. Does at least resecure his gold, though. I think Scatterbrain is maybe a little bit too tunnel vision on Pro Scouts. Like, the focus on just getting rid of the outpost and not killing the villagers suggests he just really wants the Pro Scouts. And so does Core. He has to, right? Yeah, we've got 6 on wood. He's got 400 gold. There's really nothing else to do here. So this was meant to be catastrophic for Scatterbrain. It doesn't feel that way. Although, hilariously, yeah, okay, so I checked the predictions. It's actually close to a 50-50 split. So some people read through, they're like, nah, KP, we ain't falling for it. We believe in the power of Zhu Xi. I love this from Scatterbrain. He's just shoving the deer further away. He fully understands the only play here for Core is Pro Scouts. It's the only thing that makes sense. So he's going to get the deer closest to Core's base as far away as possible, giving him a better opportunity to intercept with the horseman. And Scout's now getting queued up as well, so... no supervision. He's going to be kind of slow-paced about this. Remember, he has to supervise onto the mill instead to get the Pro Scouts tech. Alright, so Core's got a hard time ahead of him here, folks. The idle time alone kind of slowed you down. There's an argument that Scatterbrain is just going to win the castle race by easily like close to a minute. Because remember, not only is it going to be cheaper, but he's going to do it faster. Just like he's going to do Pro Scouts faster. Like, keep in mind, Core hasn't even added the stables yet. Once he does, look how far behind he's already going to be. It's going to be 4 Scouts versus 1. And this is awkward for the king as well. 4 horsemen is enough to actually pincer you if you're not careful. Like, you can actually surround him from 4 angles and stop him moving. And remember, also, you're faster than the king, so you can just interrupt the healing. First, the deer now being dragged home. Now, Core doesn't have short-term memory loss, so he will remember where the deer were, even though they got shoved far enough away that they don't actually show up on the map anymore. Yeah, so I'm trying to think of, like, the worst civ in the game to do Pro Scouts. I don't think it's English, funnily enough. But I would say English feels like they're probably bottom 4. I think that's fair. Abbasids is hard to justify it with. Byzantines is very hard to justify it with as well. It's like the king. We'll try to club for the kill, but yeah, couldn't quite get it. Hanging around there would have gotten killed. I mean, cool. Yeah, this is the other rough part. You know, if you had some sort of superior production rate, you could go into the stables once and then just produce the scouts. But he's playing catch-up, so he has to go second stables, which slows down his racks timing here. And he really needs units to actually start intercepting these problems. Ottomans are pretty rough for it. I would argue Ottomans at least have the benefit of the trade network. So they generate passive gold to get towards Pro Scouts. So, like, not as terrible as you'd think, surprisingly enough. Still pretty terrible, but not the absolute worst travesty you've seen. 3D has the micro? Oh yeah, Skybrain has been impressing, man. Like, remember, this guy took games from some top players. He also loves water. He's one of those people. So that should tell you everything, right? Like, if you love water, you must be quite micro-focused, is what I'd have to say. Because if you think about it, like, the water side of Age of Empires 4 is probably the most micro-stressing that there is in the game. So it looks like Core was trying to intercept deer from Scatterbrain's side. Hasn't really paid off. Has he got, like, what, 2 deer home so far, I think? Maybe 3. He's definitely losing the race. He's going to lose the race to Castle as well. Scatterbrain almost ready to pull the trigger already. And yes, that is a mining camp belonging to the English. If you just got in, you missed a hell of a start that meant a hell of nothing. I can't believe how irrelevant this detail felt in the end. It done nothing to really dent Zhu Xi's timing, to be honest with you. Oh, Scatterbrain. Yeah, won't lose the village. King is going to be diving in with the horseman. Might be able to find a worker kill. Oh, come on, no, that's painful. The horseman was mid-strike when he went down there, so it doesn't even get the 1 kill. Meanwhile, the scouts at Core continue to get zoned. This is kind of crazy. It feels like the archery range and the racks achieves literally nothing in this game. And now you're going to find yourself an age behind. And it's going to be, yeah, Mount Lu Academy. I was about to say, in this type of game, on a map like Cliffside, you're closer together. Means there's potential actually for a Palace Guard flood instead of a Lancer flood. I think Scatterbrain is aiming for... No! Oh, it's just going to be Lancers. Okay, so a little bit surprised by that. The PG can feel really nice here. Sometimes it's a bit wonky because longbows have higher base damage, but the nice thing about the Palace Guard is your opponent can't counter you from an age behind. I think for Scatterbrain, the idea here is open up with Lancers at least to try and intercept the White Tower timing. And then after that, you can technically go into racks to follow up. Attack up complete, cool. He's still just losing so much. He has at least killed some of these boys off, but at this point, Scatterbrain has wasted Core's time, and he's already got the Lancers on the way. And this has to be White Tower, right? Like, if you go King's Palace here, I'm pretty sure you're just outright dead. Because remember, it is going to be a Lancer spam on the way, and at this point, you have 36 villages. You'd only have enough safety for 23. So you'd already lose a third of your economy to the Lancers. It's just not worth it. Whereas if you go for White Tower, you keep 35 villages safe. And on top of that, they hit like a truck in return. It's a pretty good deal. English doesn't need Pro Scouts, just farm up instead. Yeah, but have you noticed how English doesn't really get picked on land maps right now in competitive and it loses all the time? That's because Pro Scouts is that much better than going farms. And oh my dear God, no, not like this. He's not going to kill this Lancer. Two of them are here now, so the Spearman should be able to defend. It's going to be a hit onto the gold line. He doesn't even care about the Spearman. Oh, God. And this isn't slowing down. We have got Horsemen still on the backside, which are finally getting mopped up. But I have a feeling that this 4 worker kill count is just the beginning of a dark hole Core's about to slump into. It's 7 Lancers in the field already, 5 of them at the base. And Core is yet to even begin the tech. And notice what Scatbrain is doing here? He's just trying to block the gold. He knows Core can't tech up without it. He's read this perfectly. The other crazy thing is, like, you know, ideally you could have white towered here, but he just doesn't have the resources. Going around brings his own risk. Scatbrain knows about that backside also. Give me a dive into the base. Villagers slow on the reaction. We'll seek shelter now, but there's not enough room for everyone. Over half of his villagers are unsafe here. Does at least pinch one of the Lancers. It looks like he is getting some kills in return. So actually, yeah, a little bit of distraction there. Scatbrain wasn't looking. He has lost 2 workers. This is starting to get ugly. Scouts also distracting the Spearman. Core's attacking the wrong unit here. Oh boy. Do we just go game 2? I feel like we just go game 2. I can't believe how brutally swift this turned around. Core has 0 gold, guys. Like, I don't think he knows what to do with himself here. He's trying to blob Spearman. I wonder if Scatterbrain looks for the transition now. PG can make sense. You could also consider Zhu Xi. He does have Monks coming out and Relics coming home. And with Pro Scouts, he could in theory just afford mass Lancers. The other thing is, keep in mind, Core is fighting outside of the attack speed aura, so English Spears are not really that threatening. King is going to go down. Okay, so not racks, just more monasteries, because we're about to be rolling in money. Sorry, rolling in relics. That does sound painful, though, you know? Like, you roll around in money, it's kind of soothing, soft. You roll around in relics, you just run a high risk of getting one of these crammed between your butt cheeks. It's like, it's just awkward. Look at that thing. That's not going to be easy to get out. Especially if it goes in bottom first. Well, the good news is, Core's not far away from Imperial Age, resource-wise. The bad news is, he still hasn't actually gone castle yet, so he's a very, very long way away. But, for those that are Core fans, there is some good news. He does still have HRE. Remember, the bans outside of Roost, they both banned Roost. It was Zhu Xi banned by Scatterbrain, and Core banned HRE. So there's still an HRE pick for Core to recover in game number 2. Question mark is whether Scatterbrain has the perfect answer for it. Core, oh my god, we've reached new levels of desperation here. He's gone for the King's Palace. Can this many spears win this? If the fight gets weird, but I'm not convinced. Scatterbrain is catching up. It's almost a 1-to-1 count of knights to spears. Goes in for the flash. Scatterbrain, he's trying to bait him away from a choke point oriented fight. He's trying to also skirt him out of range of the aura. Yeah, that wasn't a great engagement for Scatterbrain. I mean, at some point, right? Finally, it's coming. We have got the Raxus being dropped now. I'm kind of shocked it took this long, actually. He done so much damage with 10 Lancers, but when you see your opponents blobbing spears, that's where you have to think transition. Zhug wouldn't have been sensible here. Your opponent has longbow access, but Halsgard just feels like the MVP. Scatterbrain. The other problem I'm seeing here is, you know, for a guy that earlier in the game was getting praised about his micro, are you seeing the issue of what he's doing here? One group of knights. One. He's not splitting up into 2, 3 groups and coming from multiple sides here. He's not actually pressuring Core into death. He's not forcing errors. What he's allowing Core to do is just click around his base one by one. Cool. He's almost got the gold he needs for veterancy now. Wait. He will not get veterancy. He did get blocked out. We do have crossbows coming in, though. Halsgard Flood is on the way. The Mountain Academy tech, did he get it? He did. So he's got regional inspection, which means he gets PG out every 6 seconds. You heard that correctly. It is insane. Hence why he almost already has more Palace Guard than Lancers. This is sick. The gold's still not being touched here. Core, he may have slow played his reaction. Didn't have the resources to get additional crossbow production up. And now he is in trouble. Scatterbrain will not skip a beat here. Could pull the Lancers back to let the PG through. Would be the clean way of doing this, and then go for the re-engage, and there it is. Core just trying to start a step away from the fight to force Lancers to overcommit again, but it's not going to work. The strategy has failed. There is no stopping the Zhu Xi Zerg. Coincidence that both of these civs, Zerg from StarCraft and Zhu Xi from AoE4, begin with Z? I think not. I think the proof is on our screen before us. One and all, we may have found the one place where a Chinese mirror could be interesting. That's right, welcome back to the channel for Ladder Hero Tournament here in a fine weekend on King of the Hill. If there was any map that could make this not a snooze fest, it has to be here, surely. When you consider that historically, I think like in the early days, this was probably my most hated mirror because it just turned into who TCs more. Nowadays, it's very different, remember. We've got the Pro Scouts meta. On top of that, we have got the Sacred Site win condition. So I'm not really expecting as much camping as we would have got in this matchup on, say, Dry Arabia like a year or so ago. Double Scout opener from both players, by the way. I love that. Remember, the linear nature of King of the Hills rotations means that if you have 2 scouts, you usually very reliably end up with 2/3 of the sheep. It's a win. Especially when you consider that with the way that deer spawns, on average, games can be a 50-50 split. Especially when you decide to split the civ and play the same one. Sheep count overall is pretty much neck and neck, so it's going to be a very slight lead for Core here. Actually, that's just immediately disappeared. So, everything carved up. We've got 13 sheep to 13 sheep. Wow, look at this. The mirror is literally... Everything is mirrored right now. What isn't mirrored, though, is the spawns. We've got Berry's gold on the back. We've got Ford gold for Core. That is an exposure point. I'd be surprised if it gets leveraged too hard, remember, because with Pro Scouts, you usually get Fast Castle too safely. And Imperial Academy means you don't technically need to touch gold. What's really going to matter is the follow-up foods. Berries, deer, boars, etc. I think deer location's kind of interesting here. Mainly because of the way the slopes are working. There's kind of more choke points towards Core's side of the map, so you might be able to leverage that to block some deer returns. Might. I really want to emphasize might because it's just so awkward to try and switch racks too quickly here, unless you're going for a full counter Pro Scouts game, because you'll be too far behind on your own deer gathering, right? The Sacred Site is the only thing that can save us from watching this game until the end of the day. What? You guys don't want a 5-hour Chinese mirror game? No? So, like, here's the funny thing. For better or worse, when you have, like, these matchups where it can go very late, your brain at least says, oh, wow, yeah, like, this civ has infinite gold and this one doesn't. So, like, eventually, like, yeah. But it's the same civ. Like, okay, so technically they could just keep taxing until the end of time. Why didn't they choose Roos in this match? Because Roos got banned on both sides. Roos was the only mirrored ban. By the way, reminder, while Core has backup against the Hill, if he wins here, he has a very strong pick to close out the series on Golden Heights. He has HRE. I am still a little bit worried for him there because, like, while you have HRE, there is things such as the Japanese that comes to mind there. But neither of them have to worry about the Chinese, at least. Yeah, I'm not surprised China came out here as well. Like, King of the Hill is what? Roos, China, top 2? I don't think there's anything to argue with that. And then after that, you can consider things like Zhu Xi, HRE. The reason why China eclipses Zhu Xi here is because this map isn't usually as much about melee unit flood as it is about Sacred Site control. And things like the Clock Tower Nest of Bees effect getting the extra health, the taxation effect amplifying your early gold income so you can go into siege, allows this civ to kind of thrive a bit more than Zhu Xi would. Nice shove here from the deer. We have both players doing it though. Literally everything in this game is being mirrored so far. No one getting a clear lead. So 2 deer stacks already removed. You're still going to Pro Scouts though, right? And Scatterbrain, He's a lot quicker here, actually. What happened with Core's economy? He seems a little bit behind on everything. And I'm not sure exactly what happened. But Scatterbrain... No. No, 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 no. No, not like this. Okay, so he didn't miss out on a full villager. It's almost a full villager, though. That's unfortunate. This is the trade-off of, like, spending too much attention on deer shoving. It's what players have highlighted before. It looks simple when you watch someone do it, but the reality check is if you're really fixated on getting it right, that means you're probably getting distracted away from something else important. Scatterbrain, he skimped on villager production. Core is about, what, 13 seconds ahead on Villi production. And we do have the deer being picked up. Love this, though. Core offensively moves across on the Scatterbrain side. Scatterbrain has stopped at just 4 scouts here. Isn't going to be vomiting out any additionals. Makes sense, considering 2 deer stacks have already been removed. We'll want to be a little bit careful here, by the way. Because keep in mind, Scatterbrain, he hasn't got wheelbarrow, and he's gathering away from the TC with the mill placement. So the deer aren't really that close to home. It's feasible for Core to actually move in and take some of these away. Same on the other side, actually. Like, neither of them have truly secured their deer. Core is going to be more conscious of that, though. Like, his are clearly not in range of the TC. My worry is that Scatterbrain is going to be like, oh, yeah, these are safe. No one can contest me. Sacred Sight's pretty biased. I don't think the Sacred Sight to blame here. I'd say it's more this detail's bias. It feels as if it's easier for Scatterbrain to win with a Sacred Sight timer because he can choke these parts of the map more easily, right? Whereas if you're Core, walling this, controlling this narrative, this widespread, a lot more difficult. You can argue that Scatterbrain doesn't have a second ramp, sure, but if you think about it, Core's second ramp is neutral territory anyway. Why is it that I'm live today? Because I said we were going to come live. Are you unhappy you're getting more content? Whoa. Scatterbrain, yeah, this may have been a bit too gluttonous, a bit too soon. We'll have to pull away with the scout. He did actually snipe one out, so not terrible in the end. And he does have the additionals coming in, so this should allow him to pull 3 back. Core is thinking about contesting. But look at what Scatterbrain has done. You want your difference? Check this. 9 deer to 4. Oh, sorry, 9 scouts rather to 4. Yeah, I'm so used to deer holding onto scouts or other scouts holding on to deer. I just don't register them as different entities anymore. My brain's been fried. Scatterbrain? He's winning the war here. Needs to be careful on the follow-up. He's going to try to sneak in for an extra shot while Core isn't looking. Oh, it works out nicely, though. Check that. He couldn't get it through with the pathing. So Core, actually low on HP, has got additional scouts coming in. But remember, Scatterbrain has more. And they are on the way. Oh, boy. Yeah, this is getting a little bit problematic. The crazy thing still on top of this is that Scatterbrain isn't behind on his macro for Castlage. Core's gathering additional wood. Question is, what for? Yeah, 400 wood feels like a lot. I don't think there's much you can do with it here. Scatterbrain is styling on him right now. Clubs down another and snatches the deer from right next to his base. Are we about to see Scatterbrain 2-0 Core? I did say I thought this would be a tight series. More to the point that people shouldn't write off Scatterbrain. I also think, if I'm not mistaken, Core, just for his own admission, I think he'd say he hasn't really been as active in more recent months as he has been historically. Right? And that does put you behind. If we check Core right now on his account, he's played 345 games, but he played one 6 days ago, 122 days ago, and then like months ago. And what is up, Pyko? Appreciate the sub coming in. Thank you for the Prime, mate. Remember, guys, Prime subs are free. Make sure you're using them here. I wouldn't want you to miss any of this. Considering that in a mirror, every little detail counts, and that is a big detail. Imperial Palace on one side, an astronomical clock tower on the other. Okay, and even the Barbican at the same time. This is wild. That might be a little bit greedy. If he gets seen at all, but then again, Core's down to 1 scout. This is crazy. It seems greedy, but if you think about the tech timing and the fact that Core's going to be riding blind, like Imperial Palace doesn't... Wait, no, he immediately scouts it. He used the Imperial Spies, so he knows where this is. He's supervised for the Lancer. It's heading out now. Scatterbrain, this could very easily now backfire. He has got his first Lancers being queued up. No textiles either. No, this has to be a fail. Cool. Reminding you that spying is so important in life. But if you don't have to worry about spying, you need a free VPN, which is why you need to check out our sponsor of the month, Opera GX. Wow. That was a beautiful segue. Thank you, Gabagoo. I'm glad to see you here with the Prime sub. Thank you, thank you. Looks like one of the villagers is going to get away. It's going to be a double down here, though. 9 more being pulled. Lancer is going to get chased away by scouts. But the damage may already be done here. Core is camping in position. He has got the crossbows coming. He does need more frontline troops, though. I'm a little bit worried about crossbows only. Especially if he just jumps around top. And remember, Core, he may have 9 crossbows, but most of them aren't actually here. One goes down. Second one now being targeted. Scatterbrain is not going to be microing away the boys. May want to consider it now, but the Barbican is going to go up at least. Another villager likely to go down. And Core, now with a lofty lead here, folks. It's 36 villagers to 31. Yeah, now, difference being, Core doesn't have Song, so over time, Scatterbrain will recoup that loss. Scatterbrain, you know what he's focusing on here, folks. This is all about the Rush Sacred Site timer to end the game by 25 minutes maximum. Meanwhile, Core already going to mass crossbows. Mass crossbows nerfed compared to where it was before, remember? The base damage expos did get decreased by 1 damage. I think it's a change that has been felt as well. The problem here is, like, the counter then in that situation, just blob spearman and chase your opponent, right? But we talked about the limited food. So instead, you have to be very efficient with every play. He's going to have to stop off and go to Horseman instead. But that gives Core a very cost-efficient solution into Spearman here, if he snoops on what's happening. 36 to 31, it shows 34 to 31. Yes, because of the Imperial official difference. Got to pay attention to that. So Core, he went for 4. And Scatterbrain, he only now caught up. He was at 2 when that clash in the middle happened. One thing that does surprise me, actually, now that I think about it, is why is Scatterbrain actually going Horseman over Nesta Bees here? I guess he needs to be fast, whereas Nesta Bees is about forcing your opponent into you. And if he goes Horseman, he's going to force his opponent into Spearman, which Nesta Bees can also deal with. It does really feel like the clean answer was right in front of him, though. This giant landmark he built. Instead, it's going to be more worker kills. Cool, look at this. Strikes in, cuts down another 4. The lead is building, folks. I'm getting a bit worried for Scatterbrain here. What felt like a swift, easy 2-0 GG after the scout opener has completely unraveled in this game. He still hasn't addressed the crossbows in the corner. He's trickling the Horseman in now, which is giving better trades than they ever have any right getting. And this is now also pulling all attention away from Core's own economy. He's not being harassed at all. Crossbows even take out the last of the Lancers here. One will survive. But now you're mass Horseman, your opponent's switching to Spears. Food is going to matter a lot. He did at least get more food to work with, but he's spending more food as well, right? It's Horseman versus Spears, meaning you're spending 50% more per unit. Core does still have to answer for the Barbican problem. Likely we're going to be seeing a Siege Workshop into a few trebuchets. And considering the eco lead he now has, he can justify that without falling behind. Wait, is he thinking Rams instead? It could just be Blacksmiths here to get the extra damage in. We do have Veterancy on the Spears as well. Scatterbrain, you know, kind of reminiscent of the last game, still hasn't changed over to infantry yet. A little bit surprising. I think this time around, I prefer to see the Nesta Bees just being queued up. Instead, we have Core now even adding in the Palace Guard. A message was held for race, ethnicity, or religion. I'm not going to allow that because of what that will then put in my allowed phrases. Horseman now coming in. Whoa! That was so close! But instead, Core gets wiped out! Are you kidding me? Scatbrained! Balls of steel on this man. Wipes the army out. Hasn't started the Sacred Site timer yet, though, mind you, so that's not the win condition yet. He still hasn't even gone for the monks. Instead, he seems more interested now in going for the kill. Springel's getting queued up. Core now just going mass spearman only. It's a great read by Scatbrain before the nest made sense, but now that he's forced his opponent into just melee blob, Clock Tower Springalds can reign supreme. Absolutely wildfire. I can't believe that. I'm shocked he committed the way he did. It looked like for a second he wasn't getting enough horsemen around the back to get a kill at all. Now Scatbrain, well, he's been gathering a crap ton of stone, folks. He's yet to commit, but if he wants, he can go for castle drops. I wonder, do you just get a few Springles together and then push him for a keep drop next to your opponent's base? Right? Why take the 10-minute timer when you can end in 5? I think it's going to be siege engineering. Okay, so cool. Feeling like he has to go in a rush. The scary thing about going siege engineering here is rams into horsemen doesn't sound like a recipe for success. Adding to the fact that Springeld's here to stop you from clumping on the horses, and you start to sound a little bit doomed here. See that, Springeld? Okay, you really have to map out what the actual DPS on this is. So it's hitting each of these for like, what, about 24 damage, but it's hitting 5 of them. I think it hit 5 of them, right, on each of those shots. So if it's hitting 5 for 24 damage, that means it's hitting for over 120 damage per shot. Spread damage, of course, but when you map it out like that, and then you highlight that this thing only costs 250 resources, Springel's start to look pretty damn good. He yoinks away the relic. He can even one low here. I mean, there's no real threat to him, right? Clock Tower Springles aren't going to die easily. Does force the brace. The villagers are trying for the Barbican drop here, but the Springles can shoot across them. This is big if he just targets it right now. And Core knows it. It's a GG and a quick exit for the German. Scatbrain cannot be stopped. And neither can these Clock Tower Springles.